I'm Ryan Milliken from Hardway Performance, and you're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
I'm Dimitri Miller with No Zone Diesel.
This is Anthony Range from XDP.
This is Jaron Holder from Holderdown Performance.
Corey Willis from PPEI.
I'm Drew with D&J Precision Machine.
I'm Pinky.
And you're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
Diesel Podcast.
You're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
The Diesel Podcast. The one and only Diesel Podcast.
What is going on, Diesel Nation? Before we get to the podcast, we want to thank two companies that make it possible for us to do these, to bring you guys the stories, to talk about the parts and everything. BD Diesel, they've been around forever. These guys are on the cutting edge of innovation, and they've been doing it for a long time. If you're looking for parts for your truck, just go to dieselperformance.com. It's real easy to search for your year, make, model, different categories. And on the tuning side, we want to thank PPEI. The guys at PPEI are world-class with what they do with tuning, customer service, and they're constantly innovating and looking at things they can do to add new features to their tuning platforms. Just go to ppei.com, and you can search by year, make, and model. You got us a really interesting guest today, Danny. I'm pretty excited for this one.
This isn't just a regular guest. This is one of those guys I was talking about that nobody knows about him and nobody's paying attention to him, but I hope that everybody here after the show knows who Ellis Goulet is.
How you doing, Alex?
Pretty good. How are you?
We're doing great, man. Hit us with what you got going on. Danny was telling me a little bit about your truck and what you're doing and the build and everything. It got me pumped up.
It's an 04.5 5.9 Cummins. Compounds, pretty much basically a daily driver for the summer. I have a car for the winter, but pretty much just a street truck and drag race it on weekends and whenever there's events.
I gotta ask, why'd you pick the 5.9? Why didn't you go like the Duramax route or the 6.7 Cummins route or the Power Stroke, platform?
I used to have a 6-liter Power Stroke, and I found a really good deal on a truck that was already built, so I kind of figured I'd start with that because it'd be a good template. Wanted to start with, and then I ended up pretty much redoing everything. I mean, the motor's been done now, completely different. The tranny's been different. I'm on my third set of compounds in 2 years, or in a year and a half now. Second set of injectors. I mean, head's been off 3 times. So it's been a little bit of a story going on with that.
So in the past 2 years, how many girlfriends have you had?
0.
Oh, because you've been worrying about the truck?
Pretty much. Takes most of my money.
It's interesting you say that about, the build and how you've switched it up and changed. And, was it because, say, you started with one goal and then decided, I want to take it a little bit farther? Or was it, kind of what were you chasing? Or what are you chasing, with your goals for the truck?
Pretty much every time I change something, I feel like it gets boring after a little while, so I like to go bigger.
What kind of power is it putting down?
I haven't got an accurate dyno because I've been on it. I was on 2 last year, and they were both unloaded dynos. My first setup made 1,165 for horsepower and 1,755 for torque. But that was a 363 and a 483 with a blown head gasket. And now I have a 471 with a race cover and a 591 with a race cover also for my new setup.
Definitely got some air there.
Now, I would just like to backtrack this a little bit, how I met Alex and why I think his truck is so unbelievable, and hopefully I can paint a picture to our listeners on this truck. So it was the fall diesel drags at Byron, at the Byron Dragway, and I got the opportunity to announce the whole entire day. I was your announcer. And yep. I watched Alex do something that I have never seen in my entire life, and if I didn't see it with my own 2 eyes, I probably would call anybody out on it. But I watched him make how many passes that day, Alex?
17.
17 passes. And then this guy drives back to Minnesota about 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, it was 6 hours there, and then stayed the night, did 17 passes and then drove 6 hours home, and it's a little bit of a mess because when we left to go down there, it was snowing, so the roads were completely horrible and wasn't too great with proxies, and the first time the truck's seen snow probably in 5 years, so it was a fun experience, but it was different.
Yeah, so you ice skated down to Byron for the diesel drag.
Yep.
And you put on, in my opinion, one of the best shows I've ever seen out of a truck. And to see that truck just get the snot beat out of it for 17 passes, and then to learn that you drove it home, like you said, 6 hours.
Yep.
It just goes to show how you built it, and it's a testament of what you put together here.
Oh, yeah.
I awarded the truck because I got to give a few of the awards. It was, what award did I give you specifically? I could only give one award to each truck, but...
There was best appearing I got, and then I believe it was third fastest Dodge.
You bet. Third fastest and best appearing. Because this truck is absolutely gorgeous. It's a truck that you can just tell that has been babied on the outside for its whole life. And I want to commend you for that because that's tough to do on a Dodge. Usually they rust out, especially up in Minnesota.
Yep. Yeah, I believe the previous owner I bought it from, he had it and pretty much stayed in his garage for most. He drove it the first couple winters, but he bought it new, so I'm the second owner. But yeah, I believe it didn't even see rain for probably the last 5 or so years.
And what kind of times were you running consistently that day? Because I know you were right on the clock every time almost.
I ran 11 flat at 132 miles an hour.
Wow.
But it was pretty consistent at 11. I couldn't grab with those tires at all, given it was like 31 degrees that day.
Yeah, the track temperature was really tough that day, and everybody was struggling hooking up, and the guy with big horsepower like yourself definitely felt it the most.
Yep.
It's really awesome to hear that because I think that's what a lot of diesel guys want, is they want to have that consistency where you can drive it 6 hours, go race it, do 17 passes, run well, drive it home, drive it, in the summer, use it how you want, but have that reliability. That's almost, I think why we all get into it is we all want that, and to actually, hear your story and, what Danny was saying is it's so cool. It's attainable. It's what we can all, strive to do with our trucks.
Exactly.
What type of fuel are you running in this truck to, make that? I know you're running dual CP3s, but what size injectors?
I have 200 overs right now.
Well, maybe, Patrick, we can get into that a little bit. Every company has their own definition of what 100% over will do or 200% over. How did you go about sizing your injector for your build?
The truck had, when I bought it, it had 150 overs, extra Gs, and then I went bigger. I went to a 464 and a 484s, which I had on when I went to Byron. But then when I bought those, I went a little bit bigger and bought a set of industrial injection 200% overs.
And who guided you, on that choice? You can't just wake up one day and say, oh, I want 200 over industrials. Did you know somebody running those, or who helped you with that?
Josh Goulet at Jags Pro Truck Shop.
Okay.
And then my buddy Marcus Bussey, who I think you've met there, who has the blue triple turbo 6.7 also, who I'm good buddies with.
So both of those guys, to our listeners, if you have a chance, you need to follow both of those guys as well on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, because those two guys, as we know, Josh, he was in the UCC. And, Marcus, he's got a phenomenal build, and he's probably not far away. You both are probably not far away from that,
Yep. Yeah, that would be a dream one day.
So speaking of competitions, they have the Diesel Power Challenge, and that's out by you, isn't it, Patrick?
Yeah, it's right. It's like 10 minutes away. I mean, they do it they have different spots where they do like the sled pulling and the economy test and stuff. But yeah, it's right over at ATS, for the dyno event and everything. So it's close.
And I know Alex has. I was just reading Diesel Power this month. Are you entry number 1 right now in the magazine?
Yeah, I'm first of the Dodges. I don't know if that means anything or not.
Okay.
But I know I'm first in the list of the Dodges on the first page there.
Like, how do people vote? Like, what, they listen to this podcast, like, man, I really want to see this truck compete. How do they support you and vote for you, Alex?
They buy a magazine, and then on the back page, after all, you can vote for 3 Dodges, 3 Fords, and then 4 either GMC or Chevys.
Okay.
And on the back page is a ballot that you can cut out, and it has an address, and then you put your numbers for whatever. So I'm number 1. So you'd put number 1 as one of the voting slots for the Dodge, and then fill out the rest, put the numbers on, and then cut it out, and then you mail it to Diesel Power.
Okay.
And that would be how you can vote. And then you can only vote for 3, 1 person per ballot of the 3 votes you can do per truck, and then the 4 for GMC and Chevy. But you can buy as many magazines as you want.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. Right on. What were you going to ask, Danny? It popped in my head, if you want to vote and support Alex, how to do it. A lot of people ask us that too. It's like, man, I heard this podcast. How do I vote for him? And
that all week.
Very, very important, and that's a great question because I hope all of our listeners vote for somebody, and they just don't listen to the show and vote for nobody.
Yeah.
We're trying to promote the diesel industry as a whole, and guys like Alex and a few other guys that we'll have on are rare individuals that are on a different level than most your daily drivers on the road. And, when you talk about having a daily driver, I just kind of want to go back to that for a second. You make this build sound so easy. Like, oh, just go do that and this and that, and you're running 11 seconds consistently.
Yep.
But, what kind of fab work? This is something that kind of goes untalked about because it's a lot of people's own opinion and own personal, touch on the truck. But what type of fab work have you done to this truck to make it hook up like this?
Pretty much, I have Rancho 9000 adjustable shocks front and rear, and then I have 2-inch drop shackles in the rear and Caltrax. But besides that, the suspension is pretty much stock. It has the original steering box, and the steering of my truck's probably the tightest steering I've ever seen in a Dodge. So it's kind of everything's pretty much stock, besides shocks and Caltrax.
That's phenomenal. That's
Yep.
People, if you just told them that, they would not believe you.
Yep.
The truck just hooks up like it's on rails and it just hammers it.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
So as far as the DPC, hopefully you get a chance to go out and visit Patrick, and I hope to be out there myself. That's a dream of mine to witness you guys having fun like that.
Yep.
And, as far as what you got going on, did you have any special shout-outs or thank yous you wanted to give to anybody that has helped you with your truck?
Yeah, a few people. I mean, Marcus Bussey has always given me a hand. My motor took a dump last year, so Marcus gave me a hand getting the motor back in the truck. Josh Gruis at Jags Pro Truck Shop, that's his street performance motor that he put in my truck and rebuilt mine once it crapped out on me last year because I spun a bearing, took out a rod in the crank. Mitch Meinhardt down in Iowa and his buddy Dan did a bunch of fab work on my old compound setup and the head gasket and whatnot prior to it blowing up. Changed a bunch. They made me a CP3 bracket and set it up for the manual valve body and everything like that.
Wow. And how can these guys follow you on Instagram and Facebook? How can we get a hold of you?
My Instagram is Alexander with 3 R's .94. And then my Facebook is just Alex Goulet.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely want to see you out here and competing. And I mean, you got the power for it. You know, you've got you have the experience, you know, with racing and just the truck and everything and consistency. Your build and I mean your truck, it's a consistency that really shines, you know, in any of these competitions, but also, you know, just taking it out having fun on the weekends or taking it to test and tunes and things like that.
Yeah, and also I was really surprised with the truck because I had the original tranny in that was built by Dave Goren. But now Chris Schmidt Performance Transmission out of Waverly, Iowa, built a new one. But I mean, my last transmission, I think probably in 15,000 miles, I probably put over 300 passes on it, I think.
Wow.
So we have street races up here in St. Paul, and it's not, I wouldn't say it's legal, but I mean, I'd probably make 15 passes a night on the weekends. So
Nasty.
just stuff like that. I mean, so that's why I just have a lot of experience with racing per se, because I just, you know, did a lot of it screwing around, a lot of launches and everything, just kind of practice and screwing around with tire pressure and, you know, where the cowl tracks hook and what bolts they set at and everything like that. It's kind of been just a learning process with it all.
Look at that, Patrick, a self-taught Minnesotian. Is that what you call yourself, Minnesotian?
A little bit.
It's really great advice, though, you know, for people listening. You know, there's a lot of listeners we have where they haven't started their build yet, and they'll, you know, listen to the guests we have on, and they think, well, I don't know what I should do, or I don't know. I've never launched a truck. I've never played with the tire pressure, and just, you know, you got to get out there and do it. You got to go to the track and just experiment with different things, and, you know, like cowl tracks, play around with them a little bit. You know, how you preload it, you know, where you get them set at, and you know, then you know your truck, you know how it handles, you know how it launches, you know, all that stuff, and that's a lot of the fun of building a truck.
Yep. Yeah, and the best part I like about it is, you know, having a crew cab long box or a quad cab long box, kind of no one expects anything out of it per se. And before I added the grill and, you know, the American forces and everything, I mean, it just had chrome fuels and Nitto 420s. I mean, it looked like a straight grandpa truck, and that's kind of what surprised everyone from the get-go when I first got it and first started doing stuff with it.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up. You are on American forces, and you're running these unbelievable consistent passes on these big old rims.
Yep.
And a lot of people, you know, they might think differently of that, but, you know, it can be done. And this is something this is your truck, your style, your preference, and you made it look cool, Alice. And I just want to say thank you for coming on the show, because this is something that Patrick and I are going to be doing. We're going to be interviewing cool guys like you that hopefully gives our listeners some more insight on what they can do to their truck.
Yep.
Yeah, man, we definitely appreciate you being on, Alex. I hope to see you out here, meet you in person, see the truck, and I definitely know you do well with it.
Get
Awesome.
your votes in. Alex Goulet, everybody.
So, awesome. Well, thank you guys. Thanks, Danny, and thanks, Patrick.
Don't forget, guys, make sure and check out BD Diesel at dieselperformance.com and check out PPEI Tuning. Just go to PPEI.com. You guys can find anything you need, make your truck go faster, tow better, lower EGTs. They've got everything. Until next time, keep the shiny side up.